Are you talking about the judge?
Yeah, the judge nemesis you have over there in Redford Township. I'm cutting a video right now, trying to explain to the people what's going on.
Okay, the judge that put me in jail for the 30 days, her name is Karen Khalil.
That's it.
Khalil. Khalil.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead and spell it again.
It's Karen, Karen, Khalil, Khalil.
And just so I have this straight, you attended court as an observer, and she pointed at you in the audience and had you carted off and thrown in a county jail, 6 counties from Redford Township. Is that right?
That's correct. And I never even opened my mouth.
And the charge was contempt of court, right? Criminal contempt of court?
Criminal contempt of court. She had, about the time that she had me carted away from the courtroom out of the public gallery, she also had screamed out that she thought she had a courtroom full of Moors.
Moors, Masons, elitists, cowboys, whatever.
Right. And then she subsequently created a fraudulent. I didn't find this out for a year and a half, but she created a fraudulent court order stating that I had pled guilty. It created a whole new case. Created a case out of thin air. With the people of the Redford Township versus David Scheid, and gave it a case number and all this stuff, and then she said that I had pled so-called rights and a court-appointed attorney, and that I had turned them both down.
Well, hold on a second, though. What are you complaining about? It sounds like due process to me. It sounds like due process to me.
Well, yeah, right. Okay,
well, she manufactured your due process after you were in jail for a couple weeks, probably.
Right. Well, it's dated and signed the day that she did this, but
of course.
I think this lady she's so far out of her jurisdiction that it's unbelievable. I mean, she has no jurisdiction over any of this stuff, no authority.
Well,
so anyway, and now I'm fighting this thing in the Federal Court of Appeals, which I am right now proving is so totally corrupt. Have you been getting my emails?
Well, I'm getting to them.
Okay, so I want to make sure that your internet's working again.
Well, one of the things I'm putting this video out for right now, David, is because I'm trying to explain the lack of our judiciary here in Michigan, and the fact that your case has gotten no traction. You've been working on it now for, a lot of people know your claim. And a lot of people are refusing to offer you redress, and that in and of itself is the obstruction of justice. And the video we're making right now today, with your audio participation here, is about the loss of our judiciary. And not only that, without our judiciary now, people like ourselves that are seeking redress in our courts are being called paper terrorists by the perpetrators of the crimes we're seeking redress against. And I think you'll agree with me here. What's that?
Yours truly has been called a paper terrorist and has been called somebody who is exhibiting all the so-called hallmarks of the sovereign citizens terrorist movement, and those hallmarks are people like me who, because of the corruption in the courts, are totally dependent on the words and the witnessing of other people, like court watchers, who, after seeing terrorism and tyranny in the courts, that are presenting their witness testimony in the form of affidavits, and they're claiming that the use of affidavits, the dependency upon oaths of offices, are hallmarks of the people who are the
Right. And then we find ourselves battling those arguments instead of the original arguments. And I think that's a big part of what I'm trying to cut this video for and keep it short, is that, you know, we're being derailed using every tactic possible, and calling us paper terrorists when we're seeking justice and redress, a First Amendment right, is completely ludicrous. And that's what I wanted to address primarily in this video. And I want to thank you for your input. And I'll give you a call later this afternoon, and we'll go over some strategies for some upcoming things. And again, I hope you don't mind me calling you out of the blue to cut this video quick. I just wanted to establish the fact that these terrorists are calling us terrorists. And we need to defend ourselves against that allegation immediately and forthwith, because, you know, they lead us to believe that our only course of redress is through the courts that they already control and maintain, and then when we do, they call us terrorists. So,
well, if you don't mind that I just add one more thing, and
no,
that is
go ahead.
that is a pattern and a practice that is that has been coming out in all of my documentation. Not only what I've seen that they've been doing, but me calling that stuff out and shedding the light on that right now. And what it does is, what they're doing is they set these allegations up in their own writing, which are made official rulings of the court, because the judges, all they do is take what the state bar attorneys, their peer member group puts in the writing as defendants. They put that into their judicial rulings, and then that enables them to be able to use that in future cases when we come back for redress. That's a pattern of practice, and what it does is, though, it coerces government, and that coercion of the government, of the judiciary, in that fraudulent fashion is what defined by the FBI's definition on their own website, domestic terrorism. This is domestic terrorism, and it needs to be confronted as such, and it's people like you and me, and a lot of others now that are standing up, getting off the fence, and doing something about this. This is domestic terrorism.
So in a sense, what you're saying, it's the pot calling the kettle black.
In short, that's correct.
In short. Okay.
And we aren't the pot.
Right. All right, David. Well, thanks again for your comments.
All right.
And we'll talk to you soon, buddy. Be safe. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I really like that guy. He's been fighting corruption a lot longer than I have, actually fighting crime a lot longer than I have, and I think in us working together, we're learning to redefine our techniques to shorten them up, make them sweeter, make them easier to understand. This video is already 8 minutes, and I'm trying to get everything now down under 10 minutes so people can take a sound bite here and there and get a perspective of the big picture. Just to recap, the criminal actors by state government, our judiciary, are starting to, and they have been for a while, calling people that are seeking redress in the courts terrorists, and that's one of the things that I wanted to try and avoid. And the only way, I guess, to avoid going to court is to use the court of public opinion. And, you know, to avoid a terrorism allegation by these terrorists. And he's right, you know, the definition of a domestic terrorist is them. But, you know, they're turning that around, trying to, you know, because we have a war on terrorism, so if people seeking redress can be called terrorists, then, you know, they're killing two birds with one stone. Anyways, please subscribe.